Hey, I am Rachel Weaver, and today I have Bridget with us, and I'm so excited for this conversation. We started talking and we couldn't stop and knew that we needed to share this conversation because it was so good. So I want to give her a chance real quick to introduce herself. And then I'll introduce myself a little bit as well, and we'll get right into this really juicy conversation.
Hey, I'm so excited. So happy to be here. Thanks, Rachel. Um, it is so true that when we met each other, we were just geeking out about this topic. So it had to be shared immediately. My name is Bridget Sicsko. I'm the founder of Exalted Publishing House. I'm a podcast host and I'm a visibility coach for female entrepreneurs who are typically in the more spiritual wellness, conscious-based realms. Many of them consider themselves healers, and they know that they're here to help a lot of people. So, what we really focus on is helping these female entrepreneurs not only amplify their message, but also sell more in their business. So, we do a lot with messaging to help them actually talk to the person that they're meant to be talking to. And as someone who has a sales background, I love to weave that into my work because a lot of the spiritual entrepreneurs don't know some of these basic marketing and sales strategies that I could geek out about all day. So, I'm so grateful that we're together talking about it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Exactly. I mean, we speak to the same people and since we're cross promoting this little video, I'll share a little bit about what I do. I basically, when it kind of boils down to, I blend human design and copywriting so that people can have an authentic message that really speaks to their ideal client and lights them up. So in real simple terms, but I really want to get into this conversation about what spiritual entrepreneurs are missing or lack thereof getting wrong in their messaging. And I think honestly it's across the board. It's not like it's just a couple or handful of people. It's time and time again seeing the same things come up. And honestly, I don't think it's not anyone's fault, right? It's just the way the industry is set up. I think it's set up in a way that doesn't allow people to find what their message is uh, in really specific terms. So, um, I okay. Where do we want to go with this?
Okay, let's start with like the first biggest thing that
Yeah,
you and I see a lot, which is the messaging being really off in what someone shares in their copy and their emails. A lot of the times when I'm reading through, it feels very ethereal. It feels very um, higher states of emotions based and not
yeah,
giving
yeah,
tangible examples. So, to give everyone a tangible example of what this looks like, you might be saying something like, I help empower you to be your best self, or I help you find confidence, or I help you come to your bliss state and unleash your power. And while those things are absolutely true, and I'm sure that you do that in some way, shape, or form, if you're not finding a lot of conversion with your copy and with your content, there's probably a couple tweaks to be made. And that's what we can kind of go into. So I'd love to hear
yeah.
your thoughts on that too.
Yeah, and those types of lines are really it's your why, right? It's your mission behind your business. It's not your tangible result that you get clients. They may connect to it, but they're not going to buy it, right? So, how can you look at what you do, your package, your offer, and really put a tangible result on it? And tangible meaning like okay, if you're selling confidence and you want people to feel confident, well, is it confidence to be on stage? Is it confident to finally write your book? Is it, really tangible in how your program or offer is going to change their life? Because ultimately, people buy that tangible solution to a problem, right? They're not going to buy empowerment. They're not going to buy confidence, right? That's not how they're intrinsically motivated. And we can get into like buying psychology and all of that too. Like how people buy is based off of emotion, but it's also pain versus pleasure, right?
Yep, it's absolutely some of those points. It's also, and I like to like invite us all to think about what makes us buy. And I find that this is really helpful. So if I think about some of the last programs I've joined or the last coaches I've hired, or even the last organic like chocolate bar I've purchased. There was a reason I did so. It's because I had a specific desire, want, or need, and this person or this offer came into my field and it was like, here is the solution to the issue. And we need to understand our own buying behaviors because I think this is like the missing link that a lot of the spiritual entrepreneurs don't realize.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even studying the way you buy, I mean, that's been so informative to myself too, of like, why do I buy a program or why do I not buy a program?
Right.
Even more importantly, like you can get my attention, and I'm really enticed by a sales page. But then I'm like, nah, I don't think this is right. Right. And I fall off. Right. How can you both grab someone's attention, really entice them in with what you're selling, and then get them across the finish line in a way that is not salesy, that's not icky, that's not pushy, that's not bringing people in that don't truly need what you're offering, right?
And okay, so let's talk about this is like, are you talking to a specific person? Because I hosted a training the other day and I called it selling to everyone equals selling to no one. And we've all heard this. And as the spiritual conscious business owner, this is hard because like
Mhm.
hands up if you were like, I want to help everyone. That was me. I
Yeah.
want I want to heal
What
people, I
about
want
that?
to save
Yep.
them, like all of
Yep.
that. And
Yep.
at the end of the day, we don't have to be the savior for everyone. That's number one. And number
Mhm.
two, if you are a little bit more specific in understanding the psychographics of the people that you serve, it is going to be a lot easier to sell. Because then
Yeah.
when you show up in your content and your copy and just your presence online, you're going to be able to talk their language. You're going to be able to say, you might be at this place in your life where X, Y, and Z is happening. Um, and then you show them what's possible. Like that's all sales is it's a relationship where someone
Yeah.
has a desire, want, or need, and then there's a solution to that, and you're literally the bridge. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a
Yep.
beautiful relationship.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing that I talk a lot about with copy is addressing people's hesitations and those reasons that they are like, I don't know if this is right. Like so many of the spiritual entrepreneurs are in the like helping people trust their intuition, right? And I think that majority of people don't trust their intuition. Right? So we're kind of caught in this world of, the old world, which was very pushy, salesy, like tick these boxes to persuade someone to buy. And we're moving into this world where we want people to trust their intuition that this is the right next step for them. But yet we're in this like gray area where people don't really trust their intuition yet. We're trying to teach them to, but yet we don't want to do the persuasion tactics
Mm,
either. So we're stuck here in this weird place. How do we authentically persuade or authentically show that this is their next step and that they can trust that internal tuition up that they have, right? Um, And so therefore it's really talking to them, and addressing the hesitations that are coming up of, I would like to, but I what is the but? I don't trust this tool that you're using. I've tried it before. It's not going to work again. I would buy, but it's a lot of money. I'm a little scared. Well, that means that you haven't addressed the true value of what you do, right? And you're still kind of trading time for money, maybe. And that like you're not really showing them that solving this problem is so much more valuable than what you're charging.
yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
I like that you bring up like the helping with the intuition piece because something I was having a conversation with my dad this morning actually, and he's had his own business for many, many years. And we were just talking about how all businesses solve a problem. And typically when the spiritual entrepreneur goes into starting a business, it's because they have this yearning and they have this passion for what they do. But what they might have not addressed is what is the actual problem that they're solving by helping someone, connect with their intuition. And they
Mhm.
haven't quite identified who this person is, where they're at in the journey, what have they already tried? Because when you can
Mhm.
start to understand all of those pieces, it can sound something more like, you've already been going to yoga classes for a number of years now. You've gone to a couple of meditation summits or seminars, and just something isn't clicking for you. And if you start to speak the language of this person, it's going to be a lot easier. And then at the end of the day, have we figured out what the problem that we're
Mm.
solving is with the business?
Mhm.
Not quite sure, depending on your business there.
Mhm. Mhm. So true. Like being specific. And I think the thing that the spiritual entrepreneurs that I see a lot of, they also don't understand the difference between offer language and your core message language and how they relate. Because they're two different things. You can have your core message, which doesn't necessarily need to speak to someone super specific,
Mhm.
depending on your human design type, but it it speaks more to, like, the empowerment language a little bit, right? You
Yeah.
can still get more specific on empowerment, but speaks a little bit more to that, where your offer and what your program is, that is something super specific. If you're not super specific in your offer language, it is so hard to sell it. Because
Mm.
number one, you don't even know what the tangible results are. How are you going to communicate it? And therefore, how are people going to understand it and want to buy it?
It's so true, and I actually like the way that you broke this down because I've never used those terms, but that was really helpful. Like, I always saw the overall umbrella as more of that core message, as you call it, and then
Yeah.
within the core umbrella, there are different offers that serve a
Yeah.
different subset of the population that
Yeah.
need specific, uh, have a specific want, desire, pain point. So I
Yeah.
love that, and it's such a smart point. So how would you recommend that someone, like, be able to distill down the core message and then understand how their offer still works under that core message?
Well, generally speaking, pretty much all the types have like a system or a process within their work, especially for coaches. That is your core message in a nutshell, with kind of what that system or process will do for someone. And then the offer incorporates that process, but in a really specific way. So my copy by design process can be taken into any offer that I have. It can be taken into a consulting offer where I'm just going to look at your language and what you have and consult on it. I could take it into a full-on copywriting for you and use that process to write for you. So I can use that process in any offer that I have, but the offer is geared towards different people in different ideal clients' needs. Does that make
Mm,
sense?
yeah, and no, it makes a lot of sense. And as you're saying this, another question came to mind, which is like, what does someone need to have already solid within their business before they come to someone like you who is a
Mm,
copywriter? Because there's probably some steps that they've taken like before they come into your
yeah.
world.
Yeah. Yeah. And generally, I mean, newbies can come to me. I have like a content library to help them dive in on their own. But really, the people that benefit the most from a copywriter is somebody that has had a certain amount of success and they know what they want to do. They are ready to go all in on their core message and the offers that they have right now, or they're feeling called to offer right now. If they're not ready to go all in, a copywriter is not going to be beneficial to you. It's going to be burning money, to be totally honest. Because you'll likely go, well, actually, 3 months from now, you'll switch your message and feel like you want to offer something else. So all that money that you put into the copywriter is basically void, right?
Makes
Yeah.
perfect sense. So you need to be
Yeah.
like solid in the message, the mission, who you serve, like all of those kind of standard pieces.
I would say, I mean, solid in that you know what you want to do. Like, even if there's a few things that are still a little bit fuzzy and you're like, I need to flush this out, a copywriter can help you flush that out. But you need to be at a place where you trust the direction that you're going and you're ready to like commit to it for the next year at the minimum. Right. Yeah.
Hmm, I love this. And I have to ask you too, like, how do you weave human design in to this all with your clients?
It's understanding your energy. So how your energy wants to communicate is the direction that you take your copy. And it also has a lot to do with your brand voice and how you show up and how your brand voice makes people feel. Um, so looking at your type and then how the energy is moving through your chart from your defined centers to your throat. Now, if you're a reflector, you don't have any defined centers, and that's more understanding your own internal energy wave. Like it kind of goes through the moon cycles and understanding how to harness and tap into that to reflect back what you're intuitively sensing from the collective or from your like little tribe. Um, and from there, it's kind of like looking at your Mercury gates and all these different energies and what you want to naturally express. A lot of times it's like, I'll see someone that has a channel from their will center to their throat, and I'll be like, so are you talking about what you want in your desires? And they're like, no, why would I do that? And they're like, because that's what you're like meant to talk about. And here's the energy that it's saying. And they're like, I do really want to talk about that, but
Mm,
I didn't think I could, or that wasn't what I was taught. Or as a child, even like one client, it went all the way back to childhood where she was told what her desires didn't matter, right? Like what she wanted didn't matter. So therefore she shut that channel down. Well, when you open that channel up and you're starts expressing what you truly want to express, that's when you're like magnetic. And that's when people are like, what is going on with you? You're so captivating, right? So that's a little bit of taste of like how I do it. And then obviously putting over the layer of copy or copywriting where it's clear, it's speaking to an ideal client, what their language is. That's super important. Um, and just clarity, 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 clarity.
I love it. I think this is what a beautiful blend that you have too between this understanding of human design and then bringing that into someone's business. I think it's just beautiful.
So fun. It's everything. I feel like copy isn't copy without understanding like who you are, right? In a really deep level. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Is
Yeah.
there anything else that we felt like we wanted to touch on?
Mm. How do you show up as you? What does that mean for you?
Mm. I'm very much myself in the way that I show up and the way that I even speak in my copy. I will
Hmm.
curse because
Hmm.
that's how I speak.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times, if you actually read one of my posts, it is how I would talk to you or what I'm actually
Love
thinking
that. Love
in
that.
the very moment. Um, and I'm quite unscripted in person too. Like the
Mhm.
thoughts come and I have lots of thoughts always coming. So I love using my voice. I love leading. I love speaking up and I'm not scared to do so. And I have big visions for myself and my business and all the authors who we work with. So I'm not scared to express the big vision of what it looks like. And for me, that is part of my authenticity because I love to be this visionary. I love to hold the vision and bring all the people along with me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, your chart's so fascinating to me. You have a lot of definition, a lot of consistent energy in your chart. And like the thoughts, like you do, you have consistent thoughts. It's always and a consistent way of thinking about things too. You're
Yes.
like, this is how we solve the problem, right? Mine is open, which means I can think about things in a lot of different ways. And like kind of it's almost like I understand your side of the story, I understand your side of it. Can't we all just get along?
Ah,
Like, um, it makes it terrible to debate. I can't debate worth anything.
I'm probably should have also been a lawyer. That was a possible career path for me because
I
I
can
am
totally see that.
very in my ways. Like
Yeah,
I respect
yeah.
people, but I am like, I will fight for what
Yep.
I think is true.
I can totally see that, and I love and appreciate that, and we like and I think that's what's so cool about human design is it really shows you that everyone's energy, everyone who they are is totally fine. Like that's the way we're meant to be. We're meant to bring our own unique gifts and talents to the world. And no way is the right way or the wrong way, right? Like it's all just what works for you and your energy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Oh
agree.
man.
I
Yeah.
agree. What would you say to a person who, if they were to go back and look at their social media right now and do a little audit and they feel like something is really off when they actually read what they wrote, what
Mm.
advice would you give that person?
What do you really want to say?
Mm.
What do you deep down really want to say? write that up and then go back and read it. And does it make sense? Is it super clear? Is it like easy to read? And say that.
I love
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
simple. So
Yeah.
simple. You do such a good job at breaking things down
Well, thanks.
into
Yeah.
simplicity, and I think that's what we need, especially, we're business owners. We're wearing a lot of different hats depending
Yes.
on,
Yeah.
what phase you are in business, wherever you are though. At some point we're the copywriter ourselves. At some point we're the
Yep.
marketer, we're the salesperson, we're the visionary, we're the team lead, we're the service also. So
Yeah.
I love that you're able to just break things down and bring it back to the simplicity.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we all have to kind of learn to do those hats at least a little bit, especially in the beginning. If you have to understand it before you can hand it off to someone else. Because if you don't understand your own brand voice, handing it off to a copywriter, you're going to end up with their voice. You don't, because you don't understand your own voice. So doing these initial things and wearing the hat, it can feel overwhelming in the beginning, but I think it ultimately does serve you in being able to grow your business and hire people down the road that are truly going to move your business forward, right? They're not going to, it's going to be a good hire, not a bad hire.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So well
Mm.
said.
Oh, what else did you want to talk about?
I think we hit on a lot of the points. Like the big
Yeah.
message I want to get across to those listening, and I will say that I had the experience of doing this, and that's also why I'm so passionate about this topic. Because when I left my sales job, did the yoga thing, became a holistic health coach, started working as a spiritual life coach, I was talking in the ethers. In my posts, if I were to go back and read them, they were talking to no one. Well, they were talking to everyone. So they were
Yeah.
talking to no one. They
Yeah.
were, not blind. They were phrases of positivity, which is beautiful. And
Right.
when I actually look at what I was saying in my offer posts, it was not direct. I had no clear outcome.
Mhm.
And it's very hard to speak to that and really embody it if you don't know these basic things. So what I would just recommend everyone do is, if you have some time like this weekend or after you listen to this episode, is really start to write some of these things down. Like, who are you really speaking to? Who are you
Mhm.
really speaking to? And it doesn't have to be demographics. It doesn't have to be like women who are 50 years old. It's more psychographics, like, where's the
Mhm.
person at in their life? Do they have children? What are they already investing in? What are some of their values and beliefs? So that when you go to then write the content, you can speak exactly to them.
Yeah.
And then you can go to, what is the problem that you are solving with this offer? Right? So what's going to make someone's hand go up and say, "Oh my gosh, I've been praying for this for weeks and years and maybe months, and I'm ready to take out my credit card now." And continue to ask yourself some of those questions. Who is this for? Who is it not for? And the question of who not for can be so helpful.
It can. It really can. Yeah. And I love how you use the word outcome instead of results because that's what it is. If you think about the person that goes through your program, what does their life look like? Really, really specifically, what are they struggling with? What are they thinking about? What do they just have angst and anxiety over prior to going through your program? And then on the other side, the outcome, what does their life look like now? How are they engaging with people? What are their beliefs now? What are they doing now that they have solved this problem that they couldn't do before?
I love this. You know what might actually help someone listening, which we can do before we wrap up today, is give someone an example of what this actually sounds like with one of our offers. So if
Oh,
you have
yeah.
something, if you have an offer that you would like
Yeah.
to share, we can go through some of those points of like, who is this for? Who is
Mhm.
it not for? Like, what are some of their desires? Um,
Yeah.
and that way it's a little bit more tangible.
Yeah. Totally. Okay. I'll use my copywriting offer. It's the one I love the most. The person that I'm speaking to is really someone who has been in business for a little while. So that means that they understand copy to a certain degree. They know what they want to do, but they feel like something's missing. So they read their website or read their sales page, and they're like, yeah, but they're not like totally jazzed about it. There's this piece missing. That's what they always, there's something missing in this copy. And they don't really know what it is because they're like, this is good, but right. those are the thoughts that are in their head.
Mhm.
They come in and, um, what I'm doing with them is really sussing out the energies that aren't aligned so that we can find the energies that are aligned through their human design. And then applying that to their copy and rewriting their copy so that they are now stepping into this next version of them. They are ready to really be known for their gifts. It's no longer about money necessarily. It's they want to leave a legacy. They want to be known for their gift and what they love to do. And so we're
Mm.
creating a core message and copy around that so that they feel like, oh my God, I'm so excited. And that's the thing is once you hit on that core message of that's totally them, that's clear and has all the copywriting things in it, the confidence to write and the creativity to go out and do the thing, they a lot of times will kind of change up their marketing and feel like, okay, that I'm not excited about that anymore. I'd rather go do this. And it's like this whole new evolution of who they are coming out through their business.
I love that. And is this the offer where you do the writing for them?
I do the writing for them. Yeah.
So this is a good one too. It's like this is for you if you're ready to offload one of your tasks. Like, you
Yep.
know, this is the done for you service. So that's also
Yes.
like
Yeah.
very specific.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
I love
They're done. Like they're done trying to figure this stuff out. They want the assistance. They know that they, the help of someone with an expertise will exponentially grow them as well as save them time and ultimately money because they can actually, instead of chasing their tail trying to figure out what this message is and what this thing in thing is, they can actually go out and like book clients and
yeah.
start building that. Yeah.
And we all know we need sales and revenue to
Uh-huh.
keep the business is going. So
Yep. Yep.
super smart.
You want to do one of yours?
Sure. I will do the right woman for our multi-author book projects. So what that is each person writes their own chapter of the book.
Mhm.
So this is really for a woman who's been in business at least 2 to 3 years.
Mhm.
So what that looks like is she's already sold out programs. She's already making consistent money in her business. She's
Yeah.
potentially already hired like a VA at this point. So she's ready to start building the team. And because she has the money already coming into her business, she's now starting to look at ways of exposure and visibility beyond social media. Like she's
Mm.
on social media, she's been posting on social media for some time and it's
Mhm.
worked and she's ready to go bigger. So some of her goals are obviously to write a book,
Yep.
to speak on podcasts. She's also
Yeah.
looking to understand how to pitch herself to the media. She has the dream, the big dream is to do the TEDx talk one day, and she's really looking how to have some steps to get her started.
Mhm.
She doesn't have the time to write her full book right now, so she's looking for something smaller to start. And
Mhm.
that's what we offer. We offer
Yeah.
multi-author books and then teach you all of those things on the back end. This is not for you if you are not clear on your business and you don't have a business. If you don't
Mhm.
have a business, my programs are not going to be a good idea for you because we talk about sales, messaging, pitching yourself, and you need to have some of those things like down for you to
Yeah.
pitch yourself.
Yeah. Totally. Totally. Oh, I like how you talk about our goals. I love that.
Oh, I had this aha one day. I was doing a breathwork class and I probably shouldn't have had my phone next to me, but I'm like doing the breathwork and I'm like, oh my God, I know exactly what her desires are. And I'm just like writing it all down.
Oh, I love it. You're tapping into that 5D and like totally getting into her head. Yes. I talk a lot about that too.
Oh,
So cool. I love
good.
it.
So,
Ah,
so good.
love it. Yes. Oh, so good, Bridget. I am so glad we had this conversation and we got to share it with all of the listeners. And yeah, do you want to share real quick where we can find you?
Sure, sure. Yeah. On Instagram, it's at Blissful Bridget. And then my website is Bridget Aileen, which is my middle name, AILEEN.com. So either way. And I'd love for you to share the same with my group.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram and I am Rachel Weaver and it's rachelweaver.com. So yeah,
Easy,
yay,
simple. This is
simple,
amazing.
so good.
Thank you so much, Rachel.
Thanks, Bridget.